8 Stoic Tips for Mastering Yourself. Seneca's Way. The pursuit of mastery over oneself is not a mere task. It is an unyielding journey, one that tests the very limits of your soul, your mind, and your will. We, as beings caught in the unrelenting tide of fleeting pleasures and transient desires, must recognize the weight of this responsibility. Seneca, in his timeless wisdom, beckons us toward this path. Here, we offer 8 Stoic tips to begin this sacred journey, to forge within ourselves the steel of self-control, resilience, and clarity. 1. The mastery of emotions. Control, not suppress. The emotionally unhinged. Imagine the man who, every day, is like a ship tossed violently by the waves. His mind, unstable, drifts from one emotional high to low, ecstasy to despair, joy to sorrow, all dictated by external forces. The Stoic path teaches that one cannot allow such whimsy to govern their life. These people live among us, those who shout in moments of frustration, those who weep in defeat, and those who glow in fleeting praise. They are often ruled by the world. A simple setback renders them shattered. A small triumph leads to arrogance. What we must recognize is this: an ungoverned life is a weak life, susceptible to the whims of others. The Stoic response. To master emotion is to stand firm like the mountain in the storm. Stoics like Seneca emphasize the power of reflection. Pause. Before reacting, breathe and examine the truth of your emotions. Is it the event that disturbs you or your perception of it? We must train ourselves daily to examine our emotions, understanding that it is not what happens to us that defines us, but how we choose to respond. 2. The fickle desire for external validation. The praise seeker. There are those who are chained to the fleeting applause of the world. Their days are filled with a constant gaze into the mirror, seeking affirmation from those who are, themselves, adrift. They live for the likes, the compliments, and the fleeting moments when others say, "Well done." You see them, the ones who are not satisfied with their efforts until others acknowledge them. The Stoic response. We must recognize that true value lies within, not without. Seneca's teachings remind us that our worth is determined by our own judgment, not by the judgments of others. To seek the praise of others is to hand over your peace to a world that can never offer true fulfillment. Instead, we must train ourselves to look inward, to find satisfaction in the work itself, in the integrity of our actions, and in our pursuit of virtue, regardless of the applause or condemnation of the masses. 3. The gluttonous pursuit of pleasures. The hedonist. We are surrounded by them, those who indulge in every pleasure as though it were their last. They gorge on food, lose themselves in excess, and seek distractions in fleeting sensuality. They chase after the next high, the next moment of gratification, forgetting that every pleasure extracted leaves them emptier. They are the ones who stay up too late, indulge too often, and overconsume with reckless abandon. The Stoic response. The wise are not those who have never tasted indulgence, but those who control their appetites, recognizing that true fulfillment does not lie in excess, but in moderation. As Seneca said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The path of the Stoic is not the path of asceticism alone, but of balance. It is the recognition that joy in simplicity, peace in restraint, and wisdom in moderation offer a deeper satisfaction than any fleeting pleasure ever could. 4. The relentless, unquestioning pursuit of power. The power-hungry. They are everywhere, those who climb, claw, and manipulate to ascend in the world. Their every action is a calculated move not toward inner peace, but toward dominance, control, and fame. They are blind to the fact that the pursuit of power often blinds them to everything else: friendships, love, and joy. The Stoic response. Seneca reminds us that power over others is not true freedom. The Stoic, who seeks only the mastery of the self, knows that inner tranquility is the only genuine power. To pursue dominance over others is a fool's errand, for no one can be truly at peace while enslaved to ambition. We must turn away from the external world's glittering promises and focus on the realm we truly control: our actions, our thoughts, and our intentions. 5. The slothful and lazy. The idle mind. Look around and you will see them, the ones who procrastinate, delay, and refuse to act. Their days are spent in an endless loop of self-doubt and inaction. They are constantly waiting for the right moment while the present slips through their fingers. The Stoic response. The Stoic does not wait for the perfect conditions to act. The Stoic creates the right conditions through effort and discipline. As Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In our moments of idleness, we must remember that time is the most precious of all resources, slipping away unnoticed. The Stoic trains daily, creating habits of action, knowing that in every moment we choose who we are by what we do. 6. The complainer, blaming fate and others. The bitter soul. There are those who never take responsibility for their plight. Instead, they point their fingers outward, blaming the world for their suffering and resent others for their misfortune. Every failure is someone else's fault. You'll find them in every group. Those who carry the weight of the world's injustices on their shoulders, grumbling, complaining, never taking the reins of their own destiny. The Stoic response. Seneca calls us to recognize that we cannot control the world, only how we respond to it. The Stoic does not complain about the storms of life, but steadies themselves as they sail through them. When we encounter hardship, we must ask, what can I learn from this? What strength can I gain? In this way, we take ownership of our lives, shedding the victim mentality that chains us. 7. The victim of fear. The fearful soul. You know them well, the ones who cannot move forward because they fear what might happen. Every decision is clouded by anxiety, every step stifled by the paralysis of potential failure. The future, an unknown, becomes a source of dread rather than opportunity. The Stoic response. Fear is nothing more than a shadow that can be dispelled by reason and action. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, Seneca reminds us. The Stoic learns to face their fears with courage, acknowledging that fear is a natural part of life, but that it does not control them. To overcome fear, we must act despite it. We step into the storm, knowing that every act of courage builds the foundation for a life unshackled by anxiety. 8. The slave to materialism. The materialist. The world is rife with those who believe that their worth is defined by what they possess. They measure their success by their wealth, their clothes, their car, seeing these things as the sum of who they are. The Stoic response. Seneca teaches us to hold our possessions lightly. It is not the man who has little, but he who craves more, that is poor. True wealth lies not in external things, but in the richness of the soul. We must constantly remind ourselves that the most valuable things in life cannot be bought. They are cultivated: wisdom, virtue, and peace of mind. Conclusion. Mastering the self is not a goal, it is a way of life. Every day we are given a choice: to remain swayed by the currents of external influences or to anchor ourselves in the steady, unshakable foundation of inner strength. To walk the Stoic path is to choose not to be a slave to the world, but to be free in our actions, thoughts, and emotions. As we work towards self-mastery, let us remember that true greatness is not in conquering the world, but in conquering ourselves. As Seneca reminds us, the greatest wealth is to live content with little. Let us hold that truth close, for in it lies the secret to mastery over the self.